Hello there. This is Raul Handa, founder and CEO of the Fortuna Group and your host of the FFTB show. Welcome to another inspiring episode of the FFTB show. Today we've got an amazing, beautiful, strong, passionate individual. She is a motivational speaker, an online body and mindset coach, a champion bodybuilder, an artist, a best-selling author, and a proud example of ageless transformation. And she is known for her powerful approach to connecting the soul self with the body. She guides women to discover their true purpose and take action forward a meaningful life that includes mindset shifts, a healthy fit, and a strong body. After overcoming life-threatening health challenges and complications and a double organ transplant, she's a living testament that no obstacle is too big and it's never too late to change. She's a true embodiment of FFTB, Fortuna Favors the Brave. Her best-selling book, My Power Decade, talks about her life and what made her change her entire life in the last decade. Her inspiring workshops and keynote talks have empowered thousands of people globally, where she shared her journey in helping others realize their potential for change. Now, when I've said all of this, you may be looking at or thinking about a bodybuilder woman in her 30s or 40s, but we have an amazing, inspirational, and one of the most beautiful women I've ever met, Julia Linn, who is 67 years young, ladies and gentlemen. I'll repeat that, 67 years young. Welcome to FFTB, Julia. How are you?
Thank you, Raul. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, I interviewed you. First of all, congratulations. 2 days, 2 awards. It's been amazing. Just to let you know, guys, Julia is a recipient of the 2024 Global Edition of the Fortuna Global Excellence Awards in Business Leaders, and she won an award in Health and Wellness Leaders as well, which is a very rare feat.
Wow, what an honor.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Such an
So
honor.
happy to have you here in Dubai at our studio. So let's talk about 67. Six-pack abs at 67. Weightlifting, bodybuilding in the last decade. What happened? What happened in the sense, was it like you got up one day and said, I'm not going to let my life take me down the drain? Were you always somebody who was into health? Tell us more about the old Julia.
Okay.
Because we see the new Julia and we
Yeah.
know the new Julia, but let's talk a little bit about the old Julia.
Yeah. Well, women, we get to a certain age and our body changes. And that was happening for me. I always took care of my health. I always ate healthy and exercised. But when I turned 62, I realized it was going to be a 30-year anniversary when I turned 64 from the life-saving organ transplant that I got that saved my life. A young lady named Gina died at 25. I got her pancreas and her kidney, which extended my life. I mean, I've had half my life with her organs now, but I wanted to celebrate that. I wanted to take care of my body. Ladies, it's not about losing weight. It's about getting healthy and strong. So I began to lift weights, which is a completely different approach to taking care of your body at any age.
Interesting. What was in your mind? You said, you got Jean, right? Jean, her kidneys and her pancreas. And you mentioned her in our interview as well when we spoke, back in the day. So I understand that she's had a very significant impact in your life because you mention her everywhere. You're very thankful and grateful. How does it feel overcoming death? Because you didn't know you were going to get those organs. I remember, you were waiting. And what if you hadn't gotten? Did it go in your mind at that time? What if I don't get the organs? What's going to happen to my husband? I want to live my life. What was going on in your mind before you knew that you were getting you were getting 2 organs?
Yeah, well, I was actually 27 when all the complications hit me from diabetes. Most people get it, their older age. We all have a grandparent or know someone who had a leg amputated or they're blind because of diabetes. That all started for me when I was 27, heart disease, kidney failure, nerve damage, and failing kidneys. And so the doctors told me by age 34, you're not going to live to 40. Even if we put you on dialysis, the diabetes is just going to continue to, your body's just going to deteriorate. You won't make 40 on even on dialysis.
Oh,
yeah. But they were doing kidney transplants at the time for diabetic patients. And they said, because you're 34, we have a very experimental surgery where we do also a pancreas transplant, which of course is the organ that doesn't work with diabetes.
Correct.
So
and they hadn't done it before.
No, I was the first 2,000 in the world.
Oh my goodness.
To have it done. It had been done before, sometimes not successfully. So I was one of the first out of 2,000 patients. And I could die on the operating table, before, after. It was risky.
And you went with it.
I did, because I could not and would not and did not want to live with diabetes anymore. And my husband, we had just gotten married 2 years prior.
Oh my goodness.
But he said, it's got to be your choice, Julia.
Weren't you scared, Julia?
No, because I don't believe our physical bodies are who we really are. I believe we're all a soul having a human experience. And I had a near-death experience when I was 27 where I was outside of this physical body, more alive than us sitting here. And I knew that, in a way, we're just here playing a part. It's like a fantastic dream. And I have a strong faith and love for God. And so I completely trusted that whatever happened would be okay. And I had no fear of death. What I had fear of was living with diabetes and continuing to suffer. So I was willing to take that risk and get the organ transplant. And as we know now, 34 years later,
Wow.
I'm sitting before you more alive than
Wow.
anything.
So when you opened your eyes after the organ transplant happened, when they say that just before you're about to die, your life flashes in front of you, you feel you have that 7 seconds experience. And I also read somewhere that when you have a near life and death experience where your mind doesn't know whether you're going to wake up or not, like you said, you didn't know if you were going to make it off the operating table. When you woke up, what was the first thought you had?
That God had kept a promise to me. Because when I was 17, I prayed to be healed of diabetes. And I heard God's voice say to me, you will be healed. And my next question was, how? And the answer I got, you will just wake up one morning and it will be gone. So I woke up that morning after surgery and it was gone. It was 17 years after the prayer, but those 17 years taught me so much about life and compassion for other people and how to listen and care for my body, which we should all make a study of that. We should all really pay attention and listen to our bodies.
Wow. So let's talk about, your book. I read your book, Your Power Decade. Let's talk about the start of the Power Decade. What happened in the first 2 years when this whole transfer, the new Julia Linn came in? Let's talk about that. How did the whole thing start? The bodybuilding, the weightlifting, the six-pack abs, the competing in professional. I saw the pictures. Man. Yeah. So tell us more about that.
When I decided to get healthy, I saw a challenge online, and it was weightlifting for people over 40, so it was easy on the joints. And I thought, well, I'll just do that because my goal was not to lose weight and get skinny. It was to get strong and healthy. So I followed the program, lifting weights, and I actually won the challenge. And then I realized how much my body changed in 6 months. I thought, I want more of this.
How old were you when you did the challenge?
62.
62. Ladies and gentlemen, an above 40 challenge at the age of 62. Okay, go on.
And I won.
And she won. How cool is that? Okay.
So I finally got an in-person coach.
Right.
And he owned a gym, and he was a professional bodybuilder, which I
Okay.
didn't know.
Okay.
But I said, can you help me get stronger? He said, sure. So I'd go in 5 days a week, work really hard. He would help me. He saw how serious I was, and he said, you should be in a competition. And I asked him, what's a competition? And when he told me you get in a bikini on stage in high heels, I thought, no way, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. And then I looked it up, and then I thought, no, I'm really not doing that. Who wants to see a 60-year-old in a bikini? And as it turns out, a lot of people do because They're inspired. There's just no age limit.
I know. So, okay. So fast forward, you did your first competition. Tell me what happened that day when you got into the competition, saw the other people. Were their eyes judging you?
Oh, not at all.
Were there people like as old as you?
No.
Okay, so you were the odd one out.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us more. What happened at the competition?
Well, the oldest ones were, I think, 55, which was almost 10 years younger than me. And they give you a little badge that you wear. It's like a button with a number on it, and you wear it on the bottom of your bikini so they can tell that's your number.
Right, like a registration number.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was 64, and my number was 64.
Okay.
And I thought that was an omen. It was just random.
Okay.
So when I got on stage, my husband was there, my husband of 36 years, he was there. And when I came out, they said this, Julia Linn, and the announcer kind of went, "Can I say this? She's 64," and people just erupted. And I heard my husband yelling in the background, and so I competed against women in their 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been a thrilling experience.
It really was. It really was. And my Instagram account, I took all my followers with me. I did stories every day, like getting up at 3 a.m. to get a tan, and it's just a crazy.
It's a journey. It's a different journey altogether.
It's a subculture.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow. Okay. So you did that. You got fit. A lot of people, are very selfish when they do this. They don't want to tell other people how to get better. What made you become so selfless and so wholehearted where you wanted to share your journey with other women and help them, instead of just being selfish and focusing on yourself? What made you want to help other women, specifically in the age group where they're most ignored?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be offensive, but
Right.
but you know that
It's true.
after the age of 60, women themselves ignore themselves.
Right.
Forget the world, but the women ignore themselves. What made you, focus all your time and effort on those women? What happened?
I would say women over 50 become,
50,
they
okay.
become irrelevant, invisible. I've always been a people person, and I think the most dynamic, wise, amazing creatures on the planet are women over 50. And I wanted them to have the same awakening and transformation that I had because, yes, my physique changed. But when I prioritized my health, my self-care, and I got up every morning and stacked habits that said, hey, I love myself. I have boundaries. I put myself first. It's not selfish. My mindset changed so much. My self-concept changed so much. I became more confident, felt more powerful, and I've never lacked those qualities.
Right.
This is on a whole other level, and I thought, every woman over 50 needs to feel this. It is not about the bikini. It is not about getting skinny for an event. It's about being strong and being your authentic self. And I love helping women transform that way.
Right. Interesting. So you took that decision, right? What made you, because I know now you're full power into it. You've given keynotes. You were in Saudi Arabia recently talking to a lot of women. You're going back again. And, I know you have a busy schedule, so thank you for taking the time out for this. What made you, really get out there? Because you're fully committed to this, What is it that you want? What message are you looking to spread among these women?
That you are worthy, that you have a lot of life to live, that menopause is not the end, and you just have to challenge yourself. This is a lost in society if we don't have wise women, and every woman over 50 is wise, whether she knows it or not. She's either raised a family, she's taken care of aging parents, she's had a career, she's done everything. And our nature is to nurture and give. So not only is she last on the list, she's not even on the list.
Right.
And that's just criminal to me because she has so much to give. So I want women to shine in that second half of life. And it just gives me so much pleasure to see my clients lose 50 pounds, 80 pounds, 30 pounds, and know that this is their life. They're not going to gain it back.
Right.
Because we work with mindset.
Right.
It's not, here's your training program, here's your nutrition.
Right.
That's part of it, but it's really uncovering why you've used food in the past
Right.
in the wrong way.
So basically what you're doing is, like you said, that women above 50 consider themselves to be irrelevant. You first change your mindset and tell them that you are relevant, you're important, and that's a very difficult thing to do at that age. Because my mom, guys, is about 50. And every time I tell her, let's do a full body checkup, she's like, I'm old. I'm going to die anyways. Who cares? Why are you wasting money? Why are you spending money? It's okay. She gets a pain somewhere, she'll take a pill, and I understand the importance of, and I resonate with everything that you said because that's a fact. So you've helped a lot of clients globally, right?
Yes.
You're a global, and I wouldn't call you a coach. You're a support system to these women. You're their motivator, You're the person who tells them that their life is important and their life has
Absolutely.
just begun and hasn't ended. And that's a huge responsibility, Julia. Do you want to tell us about the most difficult case, if you're okay to share, the journey of one of your clients?
Oh my gosh.
That is just, I know you have too many, but one story that has really moved you and motivated you and said that, yes, this is why I'm doing this. This is my path.
Yes.
This is my calling. Please.
Yes. I have one client who now actually is in my organization and works for me on a volunteer basis because she
Wow.
just loves everything about the community. So community is really important to
Right.
women in our age group. So she came into my program and I did a 3-month mindset workshop first. She was a part of that. And then she went into my immersive year-long program. She was 50 pounds overweight. She was 58 years old. She was miserable. And she'd seen a picture of herself that someone put on Facebook. She was at an event with her girlfriends and she was hiding behind the other women because she didn't want to be seen.
Right.
And it was posted on Facebook and she was horrified. So she came to me. Over that year, actually 15 months, she lost 50 pounds. And what she did was she decided first to figure out the nutrition, then the training, but the mindset came first. And she has kept it off now for over 2 years. In that year that she was losing the weight, learning to love herself, learning to take care of herself, she got a diagnosis of breast cancer.
Oh, man.
And she had a double mastectomy.
Oh, my goodness.
And her doctors were astounded at how quickly she healed. Because not only did she have a strong mindset, her body was so healthy. She got up way before they said she would. She healed
Wow.
way before they said she would.
Wow.
She's had reconstructive surgery. And because she's healthy, built muscle, she felt very resilient and strong going through this experience, whereas her husband said that I saved her life.
Wow.
Because if she hadn't gotten healthy in body, mind, and spirit, I don't know if she would have survived that.
Wow.
So life is going to throw us curveballs no matter what.
Absolutely.
But if you're healthy, you feel strong, your body has muscles, you can face it. You can just, you can face it. And if you're exhausted, it just means you've got to let one thing go that no longer serves you in your life.
So, as a motivator, as someone who's saving people's lives, these people come from a lot of dark places, right? I'm sure you have a ton of stories. I don't want to talk about that because I want to talk about you. How does that impact you? They have a lot of dark stories to tell about life, about their health, etc. And as their support system, as their guide, their mentor, their advisor, their mindset coach, you're building a new mindset. You're deleting the old thoughts they had about themselves and putting in new thoughts. So you need to get to know them better. But I'm sure it takes a huge toll on you, where you absorb all the negativity that they have had in their life. How do you make sure that you get up each morning with a fresh mind, with the same vigor, with the same motivation, knowing, what these people have gone through? You're a woman yourself, you're a grandmother, you're very emotional. How do you manage that?
Well, it's because I've walked the path that they're walking, and nothing gives me more pleasure than to see them succeed. Plus, I feel like I'm more a channel for this ability to mentor and inspire. It comes through me, not really from me.
Right.
So I'll get on the phone with a client, they need a coaching call, and I listen to myself talk sometimes, and I'm like, where did that come from? Because it's exactly what they needed to hear. And I think that's part of making yourself available
Right.
to what you feel passionate about in life. So that gives me energy. That gives me a lot of energy. And the community gives me energy. So we never do anything alone. So I have groups of women that get together and, meet every other week. I coach every other week. And they have a tremendous support system. So it's not just me, it's each other.
Awesome.
And that's powerful.
Wow. Let's talk about your book, My Power Decade. I know you're not someone who's selfish. So obviously you had to share your journey. Where did the idea come from? How was the whole experience writing the book? Because I'm sure you relived every moment while you were writing your book. Tell us more about that.
The book really wrote itself. I've heard people say this. It's true.
Right.
It had to come out, and I wanted to write it to just show other women that grew up in the era that I did, and not just in the United States, but everywhere. There are incredible standards of beauty that are so unrealistic that have affected all of us. And now with social media and the young people, it's even worse. So I just really wanted to share all the dirt and drama. I didn't hold anything back. It was
unfiltered. I read.
Yeah.
It was unfiltered. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting. You do a lot of work with a lot of high-profile clients, specifically in the GCC region. Tell us more about the current, situation of women above the age of 50 in the GCC. You're doing some great work in Saudi. It's a conservative country, but you have a lot of, like I said, high-profile clients there, and you're doing some great work with, with the testimonies that we've seen during our interview. So tell us more about, what's the current mindset of the women within the GCC, and how are you trying to change that?
Yeah, this is an area that I feel so lit up when I think of helping women in the Middle East, because I lived in Jeddah for 4 years.
Wow.
I know the culture. I taught at a all-women's university, so I'm a former professor. There's parts of it I really understand from a female standpoint. Right now, Saudi Arabia is going through a lot of change on what cultural norms are. Very exciting. So women are having to find new footing, get confidence, and also begin to really take care of themselves, because it's a culture which is so beautiful, how much they devote to children and family. Then when they hit menopause, their body changes, empty nest, even though a lot of children live near their parents. I really want to help these women navigate the future within their cultural norms, within their traditions, honoring their belief systems, but just helping them take daily action steps that will not only change their body, but their self-concept, because Arab women are powerful.
They are.
That's
indeed.
all I can say.
Absolutely, very powerful.
Incredibly
powerful.
Intelligent.
Very intelligent.
Strategic, patient.
Absolutely.
My perfect high net worth clients are those, and I do work one-on-one in my elite program, and I keep that to a minimum because I give so much of myself.
And obviously the time and the attention that goes in. So let's talk a little bit about menopause, right? I come from a country where a lot of women within their 50s don't even know what menopause is. They don't understand it. And not only in India, right? Asia, Far East Asia, countries which are developing. I was in Africa recently. Menstruation, menstrual hygiene, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch that topic, but let's talk about menopause. To our audience, can you tell what the first symptoms are that a woman can identify and know that, okay, she's going through menopause? What are the common symptoms of menopause?
Yeah, the common symptoms are, first of all, weight gain, insomnia, hot flashes, brain fog, anxiety. And then there's even a subset of very strange symptoms like itchy skin and dry eyes, things like that. And I recently gave a presentation in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and I asked the room of about 75 women, how many of you had a mother that told you what menopause was? Not one person raised her hand.
I'm sure.
This is true in the U.S. as well.
Absolutely.
Nobody in America, our mothers didn't tell us. So it happens because your hormonal level, estrogen drops so drastically. And it needs to be talked about so that women don't think they're crazy. And a lot of doctors also just kind of shrug their shoulders and say, well, that's the way it is. And it doesn't have to be that way. Some women can take bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Not every woman. You have to talk to your doctor. And I would never advise anybody either way because I'm not a medical professional, but your doctor would know. So there are ways, but the best way you can do is to start taking care of yourself. Eat different foods, eat nutritious foods, move your body. You don't have to weight lift. Walk every day, drink water, get as much sleep as you can, even if it's a nap in the afternoon, if you have insomnia. So there's a lot of things women can do to take action and feel much better during menopause. And then if they need hormone replacement therapy, their doctor can recommend that.
Is getting the uterus removed the best possible solution to get rid of all the complications of menopause? Because I've spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of my team members, mothers who've had menopause, and a lot of these women, specifically in Asia and Southeast Asia, and here in the GCC as well, the best solution that they feel is just to get their uterus removed.
So a hysterectomy.
A hysterectomy.
Yeah. I know when women get hysterectomies early, they go into early menopause, like for whatever reason, maybe they have ovarian cancer or whatever. I've actually not heard that. I think the issue is that you don't have enough hormone. It's not that you have too much, it's you don't have enough.
Right.
And the drop in the estrogen causes all kinds of changes in a woman's body, just like the onset of her period changes a lot of things in her body.
Correct.
But it's just not addressed.
So if, let's say, someone starts following a healthy diet, what does that do? Does it prolong the menopause? Does it make it quick? How does that work? Right?
I think it alleviates some symptoms.
Okay, it alleviates the symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and what's the average? Because I know every woman has a different cycle of when it ends, when the menopause, when it actually pauses. What's the average? Like, how much time do usually, generally women take to actually hit menopause and complete the whole cycle?
It just depends on the woman.
Okay.
It could be a couple years, could be 10 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and menopause doesn't end. Once your period ends, you're in menopause.
Right.
The onset of menopause is called perimenopause.
Perimenopause, yeah.
Yeah. My own mother was getting hot flashes in her 80s, bad ones, where she'd have to stop and kind of bend over and hold herself for a minute because she was going to pass out.
Wow.
And I don't have those kind of symptoms. And part of it is mindset, being convinced that it's awful, I'm going to gain weight, I'm going to feel terrible. It's not necessarily true. If you tell yourself that, then every little symptom you react to, your body's getting a message that this is bad, this is bad. Mm-hmm. But you can just have a better positive attitude about it. When people ask me, how bad was your menopause? I'm like, well, let's see. I've had a triple cardiac bypass. I have no thyroid because they took it out, and I had a double organ transplant. Menopause was no big deal.
Wow. Interesting. As an individual who's so much into health and fitness, tell us, how do you maintain? Because that's the most important thing, consistency.
Absolutely.
How do you maintain your health, the body, the shape, the mindset? How do you keep that? How does that consistency come?
Raul, I'm so grateful. There were days I didn't know I'd go home from the intensive care unit.
I'm sure.
In the morning, I can pop out of bed and go to the gym. That is like winning the lottery. That my body finally responds to being taken care of. When I was a young diabetic, everything I did never helped.
Right.
So the consistency, but it becomes part of your routine. Just like you get up in the morning and you drink your coffee, you brush your teeth, you do whatever. I get up, I'm going to the gym. It's not discipline. It's because I love it.
I know.
I love it. Yeah, and it makes me feel great. And I want to keep feeling
and
great.
You look great. You look amazing.
Thank you. And I'm in the off season.
I know. The off season. Okay. You spoke about the Facebook incident with one of your clients. We'll touch upon that briefly. I know social media today does not only make teenagers and young people feel insecure. The queenagers, like you call them, they also feel insecure, I'm sure. How has social media impacted the whole, concept of body positivity and complex and loving yourself for who you are. Can you touch upon that? I'm sure you have a lot of clients, who probably felt ashamed to post on social media. So if you'd like to touch upon that as a mindset, changer or mindset coach, how do you handle that?
Yeah, the social media aspect has a negative effect on women. They need a mentor to role model. They need to see women in person or directly online that they're working with that show them what it's like not to accept the images online, that we have to look a certain way. We have to have a certain skin color, a certain hair texture, a certain body shape. I just feel every woman, I don't care if she's 100 pounds overweight, I see so much beauty in women. And I'm an artist, and I do a lot of portraits, so I see the artistry.
Right.
And I also see a soul in a body having a human experience. So
Right.
really mentoring women to get away from comparison. Comparison theory is
Right.
very demeaning. So no one's going to have the body you have. You have certain genetics. You have a certain culture you come from. Some
Right.
women are built a certain way. Learning to love that. I always say, learn to love your body now. That's the way to get your dream body.
Indeed.
Love it as it
Absolutely.
is now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Alrighty. Last question, Julia. We've had an amazing conversation, and I love talking to you because you have so many amazing stories to tell. For all our viewers watching, and for anybody whose life they want to touch, if they had to be a part of your program, what's the first thing that they need to do? And once they get into your program, what can they expect?
Yeah. I would have someone reach out to me online. My website is Body, Beauty, Love, Life. I want you to have a body you think is beautiful and a life you love.
Wow, I love that. Body, Beauty, Love, Life.
Yeah, .com.
.com.
So it starts with an interview where
Okay.
I want to know your vision for yourself. What are you doing now? What's normal in your lifestyle? Because I do not want it to be disruptive. We start slow, we build slow, but then you can see the changes. And I'm there to hold your hand throughout the whole process. Because a lot of women are like, when am I going to see changes in my body? And I always think that's the wrong question.
Right.
Like, when are you going to feel better? And that
Right.
often happens immediately because you're
Right.
taking action.
Right.
So I get to know the women that I coach very well. I want to serve you at the highest level. I'm really excited to meet anybody who's ready to do that transformation. It's the most exciting thing in the world and nothing more fulfilling that I could ever do.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been such an honor to have Julia Linn, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, who's gone through a double organ transplant, an artist, and a best-selling author, a bodybuilder. I could never imagine I would say that. A bodybuilder, a weightlifter, who looks absolutely beautiful and stunning in a bikini. I've seen the picture, and is helping change other women's lives at the age of 67. So this is for all the women out there who are above the age of 50. You are relevant. You are important. Your body is beautiful, and you need to love your life. And we have a testament here, God sent Julia Linn, who is doing that, who is practicing that day in and day out, and she can help you get there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Linn, thank you so much for your time today, Julia. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Sweetheart.
Thank you.